Something big is coming for XRP. Guys, in this video, we're going to dive down into the world of XRP, take a look at a few charts, see what's going on, and hopefully have a pretty good start to 2022. As we get into this, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. Really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down into the charts and take a look at what's going on here with XRP. All right, guys, so XRP has been an interesting project, obviously for multiple reasons. It was my biggest bag for a very long time. I actually stopped accumulating pretty much after we actually hit that kind of low point, right? So what I want to talk about is, obviously, I was heavily accumulating down here, March 2020, pretty much through to about, I'm going to say August 2020. Then I was like, okay, cool, we're pretty done. I bought a little bit more for the snapshot of the flare token. During that lawsuit, I was like, oh, what an opportunity. I was going to buy up some more there. So basically, you know, me and Chris on the channel way back in November, December time, we were very big on XRP, talking about it quite a bit. And then obviously as that lawsuit got hit, there was lots of panic in the space, right? So the SEC filing a lawsuit against Ripple essentially caused billions of dollars worth of damage to retail investors. You know, the retail investors, the SEC are sworn to protect us, right? Obviously, you know, they didn't really care for that. At least 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗏 didn't. He had the final word to basically, you know, actually push that lawsuit through. Now, obviously, there were many people who were against it for the obvious reason. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but, you know, there you go. But for many retail investors, billions of dollars worth of damage was done globally, right? Not just for the United States. And that was the opportunity, okay? There were many people riding this up to the upside, right? Where we saw a high of 78 cents, wishing that they could buy XRP cheaper. And then, you know, the gift from Mr. Clayton was that actually you could buy it cheaper. Of course, if you got in before the exchanges in the US delisted XRP as a result of the impending lawsuit. Now, obviously, that only really affected the US, right? And this is the other thing that's really important to understand. You know, from a global point of view, I'm in the UK, obviously, with Chris. You know, from a UK point of view, XRP is an exchange token. It hasn't been delisted here. We've been actively buying and selling, and you know, you can do whatever you want with it in the UK. Same with Japan. SBI are obviously a big partner, and they buy up companies if they're kind of blocking anything and getting in the way, right? So understand the players that were involved here, they're not small by any stretch of the imagination. So this was an opportunity for us. We stressed this back at the time, late December 2020, that actually, you know, that's actually a gift that we've been given there, and that we should be, you know, potentially taking advantage of that. There were several examples to take a look at of other cases where the price actually did rocket once the case was either you know, dismissed, settled, or, you know, come to conclusion that actually, yeah, sure, it's a security, whatever, right? The markets didn't really care, and it's because the markets are global, and the lawsuits, all it really did was shake out the retail investors, or liquidate them, and just basically destroy any potential investments that they had in the particular assets. And many people sold at significant losses. And many people, like myself, we were just buying it up, right? And we bought significant portions here. It's no longer my biggest position because I kind of stopped buying early 2021. And actually, I've just been heavily accumulating other assets like ADA. But my position hasn't changed. I haven't sold any XRP, and I continue to hold a very nice sum. And obviously, we've seen it move rapidly in lots of different directions, right? And it's been a volatile market. Now, ultimately, 2022 is going to be a really interesting time for XRP. We are going to see that lawsuit come to conclusion, I hope. And I think it doesn't really matter which way it goes, but I think it's more than likely going to end in settlement or Ripple winning. I cannot see how the SEC are going to win the suit. I think that's a long shot at this point. They definitely haven't been trying to win, and I think some of the things that have come out since this whole process has started is very enlightening. And I think it's very important that we understand that, you know, the SEC are probably on the back foot at this point, but obviously, you know, anything can happen, and so we should be open to the fact that Ripple might lose. If Ripple lose, that's bad for the entire industry. A settlement is probably going to be middle ground, as in the SEC can continue doing what it does best, which is regulation through enforcement, or just complete disregard of retail investors as a whole. That seems to be their motto nowadays. But for the most part, I think, if Ripple and the SEC were to come to the conclusion and actually come to an agreement on what is feasible and what's not feasible, with healthy regulations coming into the space, etc. There's a lot of doubt, I guess, over in the US, trying to make sure that the USD is the global currency, etc., which is laughable at this point. If they want to continue printing that the US government does, then that's obviously not really something that's going to be feasible long term. So they need to really get these things under control. This is why decentralization is such a key thing. So XRP, back onto the main subject here, is actually showing us some pretty interesting things for 2022. Okay, so obviously lots of volatility has happened. So this is the weekly chart, and we are using Tether as our data source. Now, you obviously lots of volatility. Didn't really follow the market as a whole. I know, like, broadly, you can argue that it kind of did to a point. We saw a nice wave 1 pull back into a wave 2 low, and then we should have actually moved up rapidly to the upside with a wave 3 high. Now, we actually moved up, but not to the same degree that many of the other cryptocurrencies actually did, right? So we didn't keep up with the market. So if we were actually to take that starting position of March 2020, like many of these other cryptocurrency assets started their bull runs on, to the high point, you can see it's only 1,800%. Okay, let's put that into context against other cryptocurrencies in that same time period, right? So if I just quickly remove that, 1,835% in that time period, right? That is pretty much aligned to Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin grew that degree, but then Bitcoin would only grow to that kind of percentage points because of the value that it is at. Okay, it's harder to move up, 100% when you're already at $20,000. There's going to have to be a significant amount of money needed to push that needle to the upside, right? And we did see that. We saw a very significant amount of money push into Bitcoin to push the needle up. But we didn't see enough money flow into XRP to keep up with the likes of Ethereum. In fact, we are less than half of the percentage gain that Ethereum had. Okay, we are significantly less than XRP, than Cardano. Cardano went up 13,000%. VeChain went up 18,000%. Harmony One 18,000%. Anchor 34,000%. Right? I can go on and on. Matic 42,000%. So XRP only moving up 1,835% basically is indicating that it hasn't kept up with the markets. It's barely been able to keep up with Bitcoin, which obviously requires so much more money to flow into it. So you can definitely see the effect that 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏 has had on the XRP market, right? Ultimately, retail investors who have been invested in XRP, maybe they put their entire life savings in here, maybe they got shaken out really early on, and then the prices moved up rapidly afterwards. This is, again, something that me and Chris talk about a lot. Everything bounces. You don't sell the bottoms, guys. Always wait for the bounce. And there would have been an opportunity just up here to potentially get out as you saw the bounce, and then obviously get back in if you saw that, right? XRP is one that I've just hodled through, not traded it or anything like that. So 1,800%, really poor performance, and that's courtesy of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏. Definitely not what we had seen previously. It would have kept up with the other assets in the space massively. Trying to say that XRP has performed as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum is not good, because Ethereum's been shit this cycle as well at only 5,000%. Bitcoins have been absolute garbage at 1,600%. So you can obviously imagine that the profitability on XRP during this cycle has also been absolute trash. So it's important that we understand that, right? Yes, profits have been made, but they've been very insignificant against the rest of the space. And again, that all comes down to the SEC. Okay, which is very unfortunate. With that being said, though, this is where things get positive. Okay, so the current performance up until the point of April 2021 have been absolutely shocking. We saw a nice pull back down here with a nice big ABC. And again, we can argue that this is not exactly what you wanted to see, but it's something that we should acknowledge. There's an A, B, and C here. Now, this is a really important thing to understand, because what's forming here on this weekly chart is absolutely massive. Okay. And I'm going to get into this. I follow Elliott theory on the channel. For those who are new and do not know, basically Elliott theory is a whole theory based on how you can measure moves in the market, everything kind of moving in either A, B, C moves, A through E moves, or 1 through 5 moves. But basically you're measuring the distances on candles, applying certain rules, and when those rules are actually come together, they actually form into a pattern that actually, you know, moves up nicely. Now, a lot of people will probably actually be following Elliott theory without actually knowing that they're following Elliott theory, which is ironic, right? People will call these kind of moves here, that you see this downward trend and you see this upward trend, they might call it, you know, a triangular wedge that's forming, or a descending trend line and an ascending trend lining forming together, and you're getting a triangle form or whatever, right? They might use lots of different buzzwords. Ultimately, this is an Elliott wave triangle. It's a 1 through E on A, B, C, D, E move that basically has an explosive move at the end, okay? And here's an example of it on Harmony 1 on our hourly. And for those who are not familiar, we've seen this play out multiple times already. Let me just go ahead and bring up our first one over here. So here's our A, B, C, D, E, and then we had this explosive move to the upside, setting an all-time high on Harmony 1. We come over here, and here we have another one, A, B, C, D, E, and an explosion to the upside here, again setting up some pretty decent trades. Now, what is this? Why is this important to understand? Because basically what we have both on VeChain's chart on our daily, we have a nice Elliott wave triangle also forming out in the same way that we have for XRP on our weekly chart. Okay, so this particular triangle is going to have an explosive motion to the upside, and so far we're actually sticking to this very, very well. Okay, so from a technical point of view, despite all of the background noise that's going on, XRP is actually in a really good position. We're going to complete this D wave. Okay, we'll then pull back down into the E wave, which will be the final move, and then we should get an explosive move to the upside. Now we start off with an A, B, C up, okay, and then we measure that distance of the C wave. It could potentially turn into a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 moves to the upside, okay? So we're going to watch that, see how that one plays out when that time comes. But right now we've had the A complete, we've completed a B wave, we've completed a C wave, we're looking to complete the D wave. We'll have the pullback for the E wave, and then an explosion to the upside, okay? And this is going to be absolutely massive for XRP. So do watch out if you're not yet involved with XRP. There's going to be an opportunity at this bottom of the E wave, and once you actually get that bottom of the E wave in, we are looking to track this massively to the upside. My conservative targets for XRP actually come in at about $6.68, depending on the lawsuit, if it's still ongoing, maybe it's not positive, etc. I think in $6.68 is where we're likely to end up. If we actually get some positive news around it, then we actually do have the all-time high bear market low scenario of $15.91 on the 4.236 extension. So really important that we understand, you know, the different kind of targets that could happen here, but this is actually playing out quite nicely for us. And also I just want to kind of touch on this as well. So obviously Ripple being sued by the SEC had, you know, a bit of an impact, I guess, on the US side of their business, but overall it's been their best year yet for Ripple, right? And there's actually a tweet that comes out here: out of all of the shitty things in 2020, this was certainly one of the things that topped the year, i.e. getting sued by the SEC. But what I said remains painfully true today. This is an attack on crypto in the US, not just Ripple. Some took the SEC's allegation at face value, though it was a one-off, but no longer. But basically he goes on to basically say how basically Ripple has had the best year yet despite of everything that's been going on in the US. So everything's actually looking very, very positive. There's lots of fantastic things going on globally for Ripple. And if the US want to kind of continue with this kind of, regulation through enforcement approach that they're taking, rather than actually giving everyone good guidelines to actually follow, you're going to see more and more businesses leave the US. The only people who actually get hurt long term here is going to be the US. The only people who are going to end up with a global reserve currency that's only being used as a global reserve currency is going to be the US if they continue down this road. So I think it's very important that we understand that from a global standpoint, the world as a whole, they're moving rapidly towards central bank digital currencies, good or bad, love it or hate it, doesn't really matter. There's not much that we are going to be able to really do about that without, really kind of rallying together as an industry to try to put a stop to CBDCs. Hopefully what we actually end up with is a broad range of stable coins, and hopefully stable coins don't get regulated out. That's obviously another issue, along with privacy coins in that kind of regard. The work that Ripple is doing is absolutely vital in making sure that banks are actually able to connect into this blockchain technology world, and the industry as a whole, and be regulated at the same time. I think Ripple's very much needed in this space. Love them, hate them, call them centralized, call them whatever you want. Ultimately, you're not going to do away with banks. You're not going to do away with this old legacy system entirely. You need to meet them in the middle, and that is exactly what Ripple are trying to do. They're trying to basically position themselves in such a way that actually the bridge between the current legacy system and the world as it is going forward today. So lots of interesting things to happen. I think as an investor in XRP, we are going to be looking forward to a nice explosive gain to the upside in 2022. Some pretty good targets are going to be hit. And again, we're going to be potentially seeing how well that lawsuit goes as to whether or not we get even better price expectations. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Hopefully you have found this useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.